Yeah, this is a recent reissue, just come out in the last couple of weeks on the Studio 16 label, very famous reggae label here in the UK. And this is Love and Unity, featuring the vocals of Sandra Cross. An original of this one is nowadays going for over 100 quid. So, or sometimes even 200 quid. So they've re-released it very nicely on the same red vinyl that you can get the original ones in, although this is slightly more solid red. The originals are a bit more transparent, but really lovely to have, because I don't think it's worth paying 200 quid for an original, is it? I mean, that's crazy money. But this is really nicely done, and they're going to be releasing some more stuff on that label. Winston Francis, still the man in control there. So great. That's what I wanted to talk about today. I'm just going to talk about some reissues which I've picked up. Some of them are quite recent, some of them are from a few years ago, but I think they're pretty interesting, so I'm recommending them to you. First up, from Venezuela, this has been re-released on the Vampy Soul label. Vampy Soul do a lot of Latin reissues, particularly music from Peru, Colombia and Venezuela as well. And this is the group La Retreta Mayor. Great cover, this. Love it. And it's kind of like a kind of jazzy, funky LP. It's not an especially Latin LP, but definitely worth your consideration. Love that artwork. I don't really know much about them. What does it say here? A 10-piece band they were originally. They only made this one recording and disbanded right after it. But there's some good funky stuff on here. And these Vampy Soul reissues, I mean, they can be a bit pricey because they're reissues, but nice little insert as well. But yeah, really, really interesting stuff, and just my cup of tea. So see what you think. Now this next one, I'm just going to take it out of its plastic sleeve, is one that I've been hoping would be re-released for years. I found out about it several years ago, I don't know where, on the internet somewhere I should think, and it had actually been reissued, but even reissues were now going for over £100. And it's a very unusual album from Cuba, which just this week or the week before finally got a nice reissue on Mr. Bongo Records, which is always a label you can trust. And the group is called Grupo Yoyi. Another great piece of cover art, this, all the way from Cuba. This is probably one of the most Cuban albums you'll ever find, because basically it's a jazzy, funky, psychedelic mishmash of everything. And if you're thinking of your son cubano and that kind of thing, you won't find any of that here. It's just a great, it's a great party on this album, and it's really unexpected. There's lots of new things that I hear every time I listen to it. There's some great sort of club, 4 to the floor stompers on here, all instrumental pretty much, but yeah, a fantastic record, well overdue more attention this. So I really think a lot of people might like this record, so give it a go. See what you think. I thoroughly recommend it. I think of all of the records I've got here today, this is my number one recommendation. Yoyi. Even comes with a little obi strip. Very nice. They're going to do more Cuban reissues, apparently, Mr. Bongo. So keep your eyes peeled. Next record I wanted to show is an African record. I don't know anything really about African music, and I know it's very collectible and lots of people are really into it these days, but I'm a bit overwhelmed, don't quite know where to start. But I heard this record and I thought it was fantastic, and I was really pleased to see that there's a very inexpensive reissue of it as well. Now the artist is called Theodora Ifudu. Rather disappointing album artwork this time compared to the other two I've shown. But it's a great album, this. I really like it. This was reissued, it says, on pngaudio.cd, which doesn't sound very rock and roll. And I'm sure maybe audiophiles will have some snooty things to say about this one. But bearing in mind most original African LPs, the condition's so poor, it's not going to be great. This, to me, sounds lovely. And it's a really interesting soul album. Again, it's not a particularly African sounding album, other than the way she sings perhaps, but really spacey and spooky. Some quite danceable numbers on here as well, but some nice sort of very mellow, chill out sort of things going on here. Theodora Ifudu. Recommend that one. Give it a listen. And keeping it mellow, this is an interesting album that has been re-released, or it was re-released in 2021, originally from 1977. The group is called Green Flow. The album is called Solutions. If you like Rhodes piano, this is the way to go. It's an interesting thing. Is there an insert? I think there's another insert. You do like an insert with these. Nice. Doesn't really say anything very interesting on the insert, but it's what does it say here on the sticker? It says a private press gem from 1977. Lush AOR soul tangles with streetwise funk and sensual R&B. Perhaps, yeah. It's really nice. Very mellow in parts. Yeah, it's not going to get the party started, this one, really, but I really love it. Late night, this has got a lot going for it. My pick is, it doesn't have a track listing on it, a bit irritatingly. I like the tune I Gotcha. But there's some other nice stuff on here. All over it has a pleasant sound, I would say. Their unique brand of jazz, soul, funk. Oh, okay, they were originally a band who played to the armed services. I think that was a big thing back then in those days, perhaps. Anyway, interesting one to check out. Green Flow, Solutions. Now, quite often with reissues, they're just not very good, maybe because of the sound, And sometimes people reissue records and the reissue just looks rubbish. And this one has come out very recently by an artist called Robert Cotter. And that just looks cheap and horrible. It's not the original artwork. Looks like somebody designed this on Microsoft Paint. It's just not very good at all. Some interesting music on the record though. Some unnecessary red vinyl as well. Does this sound good? I don't know. I haven't got an original to compare it with. But it's an interesting album because this is a disco album from, doesn't say, I mean, it doesn't really tell you anything here. What's interesting about this is it was made by Italians in New York, who came from Italy to New York, but only released in Italy originally, I believe. And this reissue is actually on the Italian Best Record label, which I know has a bit of a dodgy reputation about whether or not these are legal reissues. But there's some nice songs on here. The one I really like, Everything I'm Living For, nice foot of the floor disco stuff, the way I like it. And there's a nice sort of slower one on here as well. Yeah, horrible to look at, but sounds nice to my ears. That's what I think. Anyway, I think that's quite a few reissues to recommend. I do like a reissue. I mean, I love original records, obviously, but sometimes, I mean, especially all of these records I've shown, I think to get an original of those would just be not doable, basically. So we should be thankful for these reissues, because then you could enjoy those rare albums which somebody's discovered and is sharing with us, and now I'm sharing it with you. Anyway, hope everybody's well. Till the next time, all the best.